You are sitting in your car outside a repair shop, staring at an estimate for $480. The steering wheel vibrates slightly while the engine idles, which is the exact reason you came here. The mechanic said the repair is not an emergency yet. He emphasized the word yet in a way you did not appreciate. You open your banking app. There is more than $18,000 in savings. Your rent is paid. Your next paycheck arrives Friday. You could approve the repair without moving a single bill. Instead, you fold the estimate, place it in the glove compartment, and drive home with the radio loud enough to hide the noise. Spending money feels different to you than it seems to feel for everyone else. Other people see a purchase. You see everything that might happen after it. $480 becomes a layoff next month, a hospital bill the month after that, and a rent increase arriving while your car is still on fire. Your brain does not calculate what something costs. It calculates how exposed you will feel once the money is gone. The balance in your account is not just savings anymore. It is a wall between you and every disaster that has not happened yet. That wall was built for a reason. A few years earlier, you had almost nothing. Your first apartment required most of your paycheck before you even turned on the lights. One car repair went on a credit card. A dental bill followed. For several months, your financial plan was simply hoping no additional part of your body or vehicle developed an opinion. You remember checking your account at midnight and calculating whether groceries could wait until payday. So when your income improved, you promised yourself you would never feel that helpless again. The promise works. You pay off the card. You stop overdrafting. Every paycheck sends money into savings before you can spend it. The first $1,000 feels like oxygen. $5,000 feels like protection. $10,000 feels like proof that you finally became the kind of adult who owns a flashlight before the power goes out. But when the balance reaches $18,000, safety does not arrive. Your mind quietly changes the number required to feel safe. The goal was never really 18,000. Apparently, it was 25. Your fear does not look dramatic from the outside. It looks responsible. You bring lunch to work while coworkers spend $15 on salads that appear to contain mostly confidence. You keep the same phone after the battery begins collapsing every afternoon. You compare grocery prices by unit, wait for sales, and avoid delivery fees with the determination of someone defending national borders. Each decision is reasonable. Together, they begin constructing a life where comfort is always suspicious. Your apartment becomes organized around things you refuse to replace. The couch leans slightly to the left so you sit on the right. The bedroom window does not close completely, so winter includes a folded towel along the frame. Your mattress leaves your back stiff every morning, but a new one costs enough to trigger 3 days of research and a mild identity crisis. You find a model you like, place it in the online cart, and leave it there for 6 weeks. The mattress is affordable. Watching the account balance fall is not. Then your friends invite you to a weekend cabin. The cost is modest once everyone splits it. You could pay from checking and still save money that month. You open the group message, look at the photos of the place, and imagine cold mornings, bad coffee, and everyone laughing around a fire. Then you open your banking app. The trip becomes gas, food, lodging, and several $100s that will no longer be available for emergencies. You type that work is busy. Nobody argues. They have heard versions of this answer before. On Monday, the car noise is louder. At lunch, you sit alone in the parking lot and call the repair shop. The mechanic gives you a new estimate. The original problem damaged something else. The repair now costs almost twice as much. You stare through the windshield at the office building, where you spend 40 hours each week earning money you are increasingly afraid to use. The account protected you from panic, but your fear turned every expense into a threat. You saved the money for problems exactly like this. Somehow, letting it solve one feels like losing. You approve the repair. The amount leaves your account in one clean transaction. For the rest of the day, you check the balance 3 times as if the money might return if you catch it early enough. It does not. The car drives quietly again, but you barely notice. All you can see is the missing amount. Nothing else changes. Rent still clears. Groceries still fit inside the budget. Friday still brings another paycheck. The emergency fund did exactly what it was built to do, and you experience it as failure. A year passes. Your savings recover, then grow beyond the old balance. The car repair becomes a small dip on a graph you rarely look at anymore. But the fear stays. In fact, it becomes more sophisticated. You no longer avoid only expensive purchases. You avoid anything that might lead to another expense. A nicer apartment could mean higher utilities. A dog could mean vet bills. A vacation could create a taste for vacations. Even comfort begins to look dangerous because comfort might become normal. Your salary rises again. This time, you do not imagine upgrades. You already know what the extra money will do. It will enter the account, increase the number, and become emotionally unavailable. Coworkers congratulate you and ask whether you plan to celebrate. You say maybe. That evening, you order the same inexpensive meal you always order, then remove it from the cart when the delivery fee appears. The raise increases your income by thousands of dollars a year. The fee defeats you in under 10 seconds. The strange part is that people begin assuming you are doing well. You are. Technically, you have no consumer debt. Your savings could cover many months of expenses. Your retirement account has begun forming a respectable upward line. Yet your daily life still feels temporary, as if you are waiting for permission to occupy it fully. You keep furniture you dislike, wear clothes past the point of comfort, and postpone medical appointments because the deductible feels offensive. Your finances look stable. Your nervous system does not receive the memo. Then the invitations begin slowing down. It happens quietly. Friends stop asking you to expensive places because you usually decline. Then they stop asking about cheap plans too. They assume you are busy or uninterested. One Saturday, you scroll through photos of a picnic in a public park. The event cost almost nothing. Nobody invited you. For the first time, you realize the problem is no longer only what you refuse to buy. It is the version of you everyone learned to expect. You tell yourself, relationships should not depend on spending money. That is true. But relationships do depend on showing up. And showing up sometimes costs gas, a meal, a ticket, or a gift chosen because another person matters. You have spent years treating every social expense like a leak in the financial system. Eventually, people stopped asking you to open the valve. 5 years after the first repair estimate, you are sitting at a restaurant across from someone you love. They have invited you to celebrate a promotion. The place is not luxurious, but it is nicer than your usual choices. When the check arrives, you reach for it before they can. This was your idea. You meant to pay. Then you see the total. The old reaction arrives immediately. Your shoulders tighten. Your mind divides the bill into groceries, gas, and future investment growth. You picture the account balance dropping. Across the table, the person you love is still smiling, unaware that dinner has become a private emergency. You pay anyway. On the drive home, they talk about the evening. You remember almost none of it. Your body was in the restaurant. Your attention spent the night guarding the bank account. That is the first time the fear embarrasses you more than the spending, not because the bill was large, because the evening was real, and you were barely present for it. The money left once. The anxiety charged you for the same dinner repeatedly. A few months later, your father calls about the house you grew up in. The roof needs work. He says it casually, but you can hear the strain beneath his voice. Your parents can handle part of the cost, but not all of it without using a credit card. You have enough savings to help. More than enough. You open the banking app while he is still speaking. The number is the highest it has ever been. You imagine transferring several $1,000s and watching years of careful saving move backward in seconds. Your mouth goes dry. You ask whether the repair can wait. There's a pause. He says probably, although both of you know probably is not how roofs work. That night, rain begins hitting your apartment window. You lie awake thinking about the old house, the kitchen table, the hallway, where your height is marked in pencil, and the room your parents kept warm when money was tight. They spent on you when spending hurt. School supplies, medicine, shoes that fit, gas for trips they could have skipped. They did not do it because they felt financially fearless. They did it because some things mattered more than preserving the balance. You send the money the next morning. The transfer is painful. Then it is finished. Your father calls later and sounds lighter. The roof gets repaired before the next storm. Nothing about your life collapses. The account is lower, but the house is dry. For the first time, spending does not feel like money disappearing. It feels like money arriving somewhere it was needed. That idea stays with you, although it does not change everything at once. You still compare prices. You still dislike fees. A $20 airport sandwich can still make you question the direction of civilization, but you begin noticing the difference between spending that leaves nothing and spending that supports a life you actually recognize. You finally replace the mattress. The purchase hurts for one evening. Then you sleep through the night. In the morning, you stand without pain and realize you spent years protecting money from a problem the money could have solved. The mattress was not a threat to your security. The untreated discomfort had simply become familiar enough to feel free. A few weeks later, you accept an invitation to the cabin you once avoided. The price is higher now. Everything is higher now. Gas, groceries, the cleaning fee that appears at checkout like a small betrayal. You still hesitate before confirming, but this time you notice what the money is buying. 2 days away. A seat at the table. A story you will not have to reconstruct later from photos. The trip is ordinary. The cabin is colder than expected. Someone burns breakfast. The weather ruins the hike. At night, everyone sits around a fire, arguing about a movie nobody remembers correctly. Nothing about the weekend is efficient. Almost nothing is worth the price, if measured only in dollars. On Sunday, while packing the car, you realize you have not checked your banking app since Friday. 10 years after the first estimate, your life looks different in small, visible ways. The couch is comfortable. The car is maintained before the dashboard begins issuing threats. You buy groceries based partly on taste. You still save. The number continues growing, just not with the same authority over every decision. Money remains important. It simply stops being the only thing in the room with a vote. You also discover that fear never leaves completely. It still appears when a large bill arrives. It still whispers when you book a flight or replace an appliance that has not yet exploded. Sometimes you listen. Sometimes you do not. The difference is that you finally recognize the voice. It is not wisdom. It is an old memory wearing a calculator. Years later, you are back in a grocery store holding 2 jars of pasta sauce. One costs $3. The other costs $5. For a moment, the old debate begins. The cheaper one is acceptable. The better one is unnecessary. $2 saved today could become something larger in the future. Then you remember the quiet car after the repair, the dry roof over your parents' home, the dinner you almost missed while sitting at the table, the cabin, the bad coffee, the burned breakfast, and the weekend that stayed long after the charge disappeared. You place the $5 jar in the cart. Nothing dramatic happens. Your future does not collapse. No emergency receives a notification that you have become vulnerable. You go home, make dinner, and discover that the sauce is slightly better. Not life-changing, not financially reckless, just better. That is what fear had been taking from you all along. Not luxury, not status, not yachts, sports cars, or some imaginary life built entirely from room service. It was taking small comforts, shared evenings, repaired problems, useful purchases, and moments you could afford, but never allowed yourself to have. Saving money once protected you from feeling helpless. Then fear tried to turn that protection into a locked room. The balance kept growing, but the life outside it kept waiting. You never become careless. You never stop thinking about the future. You simply stop treating every dollar spent as evidence that the future matters more than the person living today, because money can protect your life without replacing it. And the safest account in the world means very little if you become too afraid to use it for anything worth saving.